Hi, my name's Daddy. I play Clash of Clans sometimes. And you know, one of the most pleasurable things I have in the time I've been playing Clash is getting to interact with Supercell's developers. And it's my delight to introduce you to somebody that you will know very well, being the face of the Clash development team, Jonas.
Hi, Daddy. You're always a welcome presence in the office. You along with the other YouTubers. It's always a pleasure to be able to talk Clash.
Well, I'm sorry that your office has been turned upside down by half of the YouTubers in the world defending on you.
It happens anyways. You don't have to feel bad about it. So
it's great. So you'll know Jonas as representing the Clash team, but what I wanted to do is answer one of the questions that is most asked on my channel, which is, do the developers really play Clash themselves, and you know, how do they play? So Jonas, here we go. How long have you been playing Clash of Clans?
So I started playing Clash of Clans shortly before I actually joined Supercell, and for those of you who don't know, I'm actually a server engineer, so I'm a programmer for the team, and I started playing the game before I took interviews with the Supercell, just to get an idea of the games that they were developing, and Clash was one I really took to, and I've been playing it pretty much since. It's been about 2 years, yeah. And I've been playing it constantly since then.
Well, you become addicted as well, right?
yeah. So,
what's your strategy? Do you farm? Do you cup chase? How high in cups have you ever gone?
Okay, so well, I take a balanced approach. You know, for me, it's there's a satisfaction in finding good loot in bases, but also I like to have challenge in the attacks that I do. So my trophy level around now is about 2850, so nothing, you know, super high, but enough that the bases are nice and challenging. And I have I'm Town Hall 10, XP level 108. So
it must be fascinating playing it, knowing the inside mechanics of the game. That must be quite a really interesting act.
Yeah. Sometimes like it's kind of interesting because sometimes I win defenses that I probably shouldn't have won if somebody would have done something slightly different with the hero abilities or the troop deployments or the spells. And it's funny because I imagine a normal player would be like, yes, you know, you messed up. But for me, I'm like, oh, why didn't you do that right? Like, come on. So, you know, it's good. And it's, you know, I think it's probably the most useful thing in terms of keeping tabs on how the combat balance is, how people are playing, is just watching how people attack, you know?
How about the rest of the Clash team? Do you guys play? Are you guys competitive?
Yeah. Everybody in the Clash team plays, and I would say we're probably not too competitive with each other. Like something about the Clash teams that we're all very collaborative in terms of developing the game. But within the game itself, we're quite competitive with other people. And there's some people in the Clash team that have actually started second accounts just to try going through the early game experience all over again. Like I've been thinking about doing the same because, you know, 2 years is a long time, and the early game experience is a lot different now than it used to be.
Yeah, I did that 5 times.
5 times?
Yeah, I got 5
Okay, so you have a few on top of me
yeah,
there. So,
sorry about that. But how, you know, obviously now we know that there's a new trap that's come out with the Halloween update, and that's going to stay in the game, right?
Yes, that's a permanent addition.
So how are you, knowing the mechanics, how are you going to best use it?
So it's interesting. For me, the way I view the trap is it's going to be a way to divert troops and pull them into areas of the base that the attacker might not have expected. I imagine probably what would be a popular strategy would be to put the skeleton traps directly around the clan castle to reinforce the troops that come out. But for me, I want to try making the battle a bit more unpredictable by putting them in places that the attackers wouldn't expect. Because you have to consider that whenever some enemy troops draw the attacker's attention, after that skirmish is over, they're going to be finding new targets, and that might end up diverting them away from where the attacker had originally intended. So I'm going to try that.
Sure, and I guess if they're set on air, you can at least put them around maybe the air defense, so that they distract the balloons, or possibly.
Yeah, we'll have to see, because now you're going to have a bit more flexibility in terms of the expos and the skeleton traps, and how you place your other defenses, what you're going to prioritize air, what you're going to prioritize ground.
And they do look so cute as well.
Little
chaps with the 2 balloons fighting.
I just love how eager they are when they're with the balloons with their tiny swords, you know. So
So of course you have, when you're building new troops into the game, you need to take into account balance so that you don't overpower something. If you could take away that consideration, if you could bring a troop that would just, even if it's overpowered, it would just be so cool. Magic one time.
Yeah.
Taking all considerations and balance out of the way, what troop would you like to see in an ideal world?
So I guess it's a tricky question, because the troops I like the best are the ones that are the best balanced. Those are the ones that I think are the most interesting, the ones that have some synergy with other troops in the game. All of the different developers, we have a different take on what troops we want to see, and my push usually is to make troops that are a bit more complex to use, troops that can have different modes or different abilities that are that are slightly different from the standard. But I think the Lava Hound is actually a really good example because it showed us that a troop that's very mechanically simple can actually open up more strategy within the existing troops. And I think that's probably the ideal sweet spot we want to have. So I guess there's some areas that we can still improve. For example, the ranged combat is something that can be improved, and I still think there's more to do with the air as well.
Well, it's definitely interesting to see how people are developing the use of the Lava Hound.
Yeah, it's still very early, and there's going to be, I'm pretty sure there's going to be more tweaks for that to come soon. The usage of it is still settling out. It's a brand new troop. People are still upgrading it. People are still figuring out how to use it.
Must be fascinating, giving people the tools to achieve success and then watching how they do, human ingenuity in place. So just one final question. How do you see the future of Clash?
So the most critical thing for the Clash development team is to keep the game interesting and to keep the game competitive. I think once the game starts to feel like everybody's figured it out and it's just a matter of applying the same strategy, the same techniques, the same thought process over and over, then the interest in the game is really going to start to wane. So when we're coming up with new features for the game, it's always trying to bring something new, to give people a new challenge, something new to figure out. And it's much more important for us than just giving people things to upgrade. We're always thinking about how can we add to the experience.
Jonas, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for showing up. It's always a pleasure to see you.
Cheers. Take care. Yeah. Bye for now.
Here we go.